my friends, David Kessler here. Welcome back to the studio. Today I'm going to do a watercolor painting demonstration. It's going to be a really quick, simple, easy, wet into wet, wintry landscape. I mean, you know, here in North Carolina we just got rid of 12 inches of snow, which for us is a tremendous amount of snow. I know you northerners are laughing, but you know, we're not used to that. So, you know, kind of inspired to do a little winter scene, really quick, not completely abstract, but a winter landscape scene. So what I want you to do, get your stuff together, get your painting equipment together, you know, pause the video, get set up, and then come back and we're going to be on the palette. All right, everyone, so we're ready to paint. Hopefully you have all of your stuff ready and you're set up, ready to go. So here's what I've got. The paper I'm using is Fabriano Artistico. This is a quarter of a sheet, which is 11 by 15. Right, this is 300-pound rough pressed paper. I love the grain on this rough pressed paper. It has a similar absorbency to cold pressed. It just has really the same as cold pressed. It just has a rough surface on it. So I've got my watercolor palette. This is my travel palette that I use here. We're going to simplify this and only use two colors. I'm going to be using indigo and burnt sienna. So the first thing I do is I'm going to wet the paper. This is going to be quick and easy. You should be able to follow along pretty easily with what I'm doing. I'm wetting the back of the paper first. So I'm trying to get a thorough wetting of the paper so it's soaked through on both sides. And what this also does is it will adhere my paper to the board, so I don't need clips or tape or anything. All right, put a little water here. Right, so the suction right there is going to keep my paper on the board. Now the board, the backing board I'm using is called plastic core board. It's about 1/4 inch thick. It's made of plastic, as the name might suggest, and it's constructed like corrugated cardboard, only with plastic. All right, it's lightweight, it's wonderful, waterproof. All right, so I've got my paper thoroughly wet. I'm going to go along the edges and just pick up any additional moisture there. All right, so the surface is completely wet. So what I want to do first, I'm going to come in with some really loose, wet washes. I'm going to start with a little burnt sienna. And we're going to do the burnt sienna to sort of highlight an area for a center of interest. This is wet and loose, just the way I like it. All right. Really loose, loosey-goosey. There we go. Actually a little bit more color than I wanted, so. All right, so that's a start. Pretty easy so far, right? Let me get a little indigo. Start with a little indigo. If you don't have indigo, don't worry about it. You can, you know, use another blue. You can put a little burnt umber, or raw umber with some ultramarine blue, or you can mix ultramarine and black to get indigo. It's not a big deal, don't worry about it. Right, we just want to get real loose here. Really loose, stay loose. Mostly a cool painting, but I'm using the warm. Oh yeah, babe, look at that. I'm using the warm color just so it'll draw some attention to our center of interest area. Okay, look at that. Wow, that's beautiful. That is really beautiful. All right, super. Now, we're going to get in here and start a little bit in the back. This is really, you know, a snowy landscape. All right, so what we want to do is get back here and just outline a couple of areas. say, well, these are trees. Well, you know, maybe they are trees. I don't know what they are. Right now they're just shapes. So what I'm trying to do is really concentrate in this area, the accent color. Well, really it's just a complementary color scheme, right? We're using, you know, blue and orange. Blue and orange. All right. Now we're almost finished. Right, we're almost finished with this painting. Just about. Just about. All right, just reinforce that a little bit. Now, I'm going to get, this is a 2-inch brush. Right now I'm going to get the smaller brush, which I don't even know what this is. It's a 1-inch Kalinsky sable brush. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to come in and create a center of interest here, which you could say, well, you know, Dave, that looks like a tree. Well, if you want to call it a tree, you can call it a tree. Now, look at the difference and see how watery this was? And now I'm coming in here with some thick paint with not a lot of water. Alright. I'm really just sort of scumbling this brush along the surface. So the introduction of this dark value, a little bit here in the foreground and there, and a little bit of warmth, that creates our center of interest, and the painting is done. I'm going to take my spray bottle right here. I'm going to put a little bit of spray in here. Ah, yeah, look at that. Woo! See, now I've got a little bit of that going on. I'm going to get a paper towel in case I need it. All right. And just blot a couple of these little areas. Oh, that's fantastic. Now I see this is faded back a little bit more than I wanted it to. So I'm going to come in and reinforce that blue just a little bit. There we go. Now we're talking. You really want a nice white area right there. There we go. That, my friends, is all there is to it. See how easy that was? I told you it was going to be easy. And there you have it, and I would sign it. I'll probably sign it over here once it dries, but the paper is completely wet. I've got, you know, this is sort of a image of a tree, image of a foreground shape, a couple of tree shapes in the background here, and I think that's enough. That's all I need for the idea of this thing to come together. And I think it's beautiful. I got a little bit of warmth at the center of interest, darker value. Bam, done. Told you it was easy. Hey, I hope this video was helpful for you. If you're interested in me doing some more watercolor painting demonstrations, then leave that in the comments and let me know. I want to know what kind of videos you guys want out there. You know, I've done 120 some videos, and you know, after a while, it's hard to come up with new ones. So leave me some comments on what you'd like to see. Hope it was helpful for you. If you like this, join me for a workshop somewhere across the country. If there's enough watercolor painters in the class, lots of times I'll do watercolor painting demos as well as acrylic demos. So join me for one of those. You can go to the website and check out all the workshops. I have a link for that below. And I'll see you on the next video. Thanks.